Today is June 15th, 2025, and today marks the 4-year anniversary of the disappearance of a little girl named Summer Moon Utah Wells. Summer went missing on this day 4 years ago from the area in Rogersville, Tennessee, in Hawkins County. She's never been found. There's never been any traces of her, but I was asked recently by a viewer to do something about Summer, to speak about Summer. Despite massive searches and a large reward for information or for Summer's recovery, there's been no traces of her. No one's ever been arrested in connection with her case. There's been a lot of rumors and scenarios, but to this day, there's no more new information about Summer, and I just wanted to tell the story as much as I can. Summer Wells was a little girl down in Tennessee. I'm sure most people have heard of her. She went missing on June the 15th, 2021. This led to one of the most exhaustive and child missing cases we've ever investigated. Now, this is from tbinews.com. Though we have no new details to share, we continue to work with the FBI and the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to chase down every lead. We won't stop until we have answers about Summer. Summer remains the subject of an ongoing Amber Alert. We have an age progression photo of what Summer may look like today. At approximately 6:30 p.m. on June the 15th, 2021, Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County, Tennessee. At that time, no one imagined we would still be searching for her. We've said from the beginning that this case is outside of the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. All possibilities are being explored. Many of you have asked for details about what's been going on. Now, this was written 1 year to the day after Summer vanished. Agents and detectives have worked thousands of hours on this case. They have issued search warrants, cell phone data has been analyzed, and other digital evidence has been collected and documented. This includes social media accounts of those associated with Summer. Summer was last seen when her mother reported seeing her on the afternoon of June 15th at their home on Ben Hill Road. It says that yes, they have searched the basement, the crawl space, all the vehicles, all of the outdoor buildings, barrels, and other items located on the property. Canine teams have searched, and different methods have been utilized. And they have searched phones, digital, social media, everything that they could find. Someone had asked the question, did they search the flower bed? Because Summer's mother stated that she and Summer's grandmother were planting flowers when Summer was last seen, that Summer went into the house while they were still outside planting flowers. So people assumed that there was a flower bed, but the police say there was no flower bed. They were planting flowers in pots, and yes, everything was examined. They did 3 large-scale ground searches all around that property. They've searched waterways with dive teams. They've done aerial searches with drones and helicopters. They've gone out on foot. They have done surveillance video of the entire area, stores, and they've spotted her on no types of surveillance cameras. Sex offenders in the area were questioned and investigated. Amber Alert was issued. The FBI Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team came out to the area. Now, there was a story about a man in a Toyota pickup truck, and that goes an individual who travels through the area regularly as part of his job states that he recalls seeing a 1998 to 2000 maroon Toyota Tacoma with a ladder rack. This truck had white buckets in the bed of the truck, and the individual stated that the truck might have been parked in the area near her home in the Ben Hill Road late that same afternoon. But the vehicle was not captured on surveillance cameras. They searched the entire area, all the different surveillance cameras, and they were unable to find a truck matching that description. So they don't know if this was something to throw someone off, or if this was just something that maybe the man got the type of truck wrong, maybe he got the description, or even the date wrong. There is no evidence that she was abducted. However, all avenues continue to be explored. Foul play and the possibility that she wandered off into the mountains and rough terrain surrounding her home continues to be explored. And of course, there's a phone number if anyone has any information about Summer. You can contact 1-800-TBI-FIND. Now, Summer was 5 years old at the time of her disappearance. And her mother and father both appeared on the Dr. Phil show. And if you haven't watched that episode, I would encourage you to find it. You can probably find it on YouTube. This was dated this year, 2025. The family of missing girl Summer Wells continues to hold out hope as they celebrate her 9th birthday. Her parents posted a collection of photos of Summer, who was last seen June 15th, 2021. Some believe that she wandered out the door. Some believe she didn't really even ever go into the house. Something happened to her between the time that she disappeared from her mother's site, when her mother turned away to work on these potted flowers, and the time that she was to go into the house. But a 5-year-old little girl in the hills and the wooded area around her home in Tennessee, they lived in a rural area, probably would not have gotten real far on foot. Don Wells, her father, can rattle off a string of theories about the disappearance of his daughter. She could be being held somewhere, he said. Maybe she's being tormented. She could be locked in a basement with chains, and she could have been sold into trafficking by drug dealers or child sex traffickers. And that's a good possibility, a very good possibility. Summer disappeared from her home at around 6:30 p.m. Authorities set out an exhaustive search well into the night. In the days that followed, crews searched more than 3,000 acres using helicopters, planes, drones, and tracking dogs. The thick brush and the steep landscape around her home made it difficult for some of the searchers to even search. So you have to imagine a little 5-year-old girl. So you have to wonder how easy was it for her to walk around in this area. Many people have speculated what they think happened in this case. And a lot of people were putting the focus on the mother and the mother's story. Summer's case sparked plenty of interest and a number of conspiracy theories. Social media really went after the parents, especially the mom. And the dad says, we don't pay any attention to any of that because we have no idea what happened. We just know that they're wasting their time blaming us or accusing us. Now, months after Summer went missing, her parents appeared on an episode of the Dr. Phil show. The father says that he believed that his daughter was kidnapped. He was asked if he could say confidently that he had nothing to do with his daughter's disappearance. And he said, I absolutely can say that. I had nothing to do with it. He says, eventually I will see my daughter again, maybe not in this life, but eventually. In July of 2021, the Tennessee Department of Child Services said that Summer's brothers were removed from the home. And the father and mother recently signed over their parental rights. The mother on the Dr. Phil show, she really shut down. She stopped talking. Dr. Phil started asking her some questions that were tough, and she didn't want to answer those questions, and she shut down. And a lot of people took that as she was just too guilty to discuss it. There have been so many stories done on Summer Wells, so many different scenarios of what people believe might have happened to her. And one of the big ones involves human trafficking, sex trafficking. Some people indicated that they believed that her mother had gotten involved in some drug dealings and maybe she owed somebody money. Maybe they took the child and was holding the child until she could come up with this money. Or maybe they took the child because she couldn't come up with the money. Candace Bly, who was the biological mother of Summer Wells, age 5, spoke to a reporter from the news station at her home in Hawkins County, where Summer's parents say they last saw her. According to Bly's account, Summer had been planting flowers with her and her grandmother on June 15th. She asked if she could go inside and play with her brothers. Summer wanted to go back inside and see her brothers, and I said, okay. She says that I walked with her all the way up to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. I told the boys, look after Summer, I'll be back in a little while. And within a couple of minutes, I came back and I asked the boys where was their sister. And they said she went downstairs, Mom, to play with some of her toys. I yelled downstairs a couple of times for Summer, but she didn't respond. So I went down there to check on her, and she was nowhere in sight. The parents were very controversial from the beginning. I remember watching the news when this first broke and thinking I wanted to give the dad the benefit of the doubt because the mom came across as more unwilling to talk. She came across as not the way, and I can't stand here and judge anybody else's behavior, but the way we have seen some parents of a missing child really appeal to the public, really appeal and beg for help to find their child. She didn't come across in that way. It was almost like she didn't want anything to do with the cameras. And when, like I said, when she did go on the Dr. Phil show, she closed off. Dr. Phil asked her a couple of really tough questions that she wasn't interested in answering, and she really closed off. And I think she may have actually even left the stage. The dad was more forthcoming and wanting to talk, but everyone was judging him as though he were oversharing, that he wanted to come across as someone who had nothing to hide. And very few people really believed the story. This is from Unresolved Mysteries on Reddit. Let's talk about Summer Wells. There's a ton of speculations and rumors surrounding her disappearance. Most people seem to find her parents questionable. Her father has been to jail for DUI and has had the police call on him for claims of domestic violence. And this was right around the time that she was last seen. The parents also made an appearance on Dr. Phil and spoke with body language experts who questioned the mother's possible knowledge of what happened. Now, there was a story, I tried to find it on here, that same day, Summer Wells' mom had taken her swimming. And according to some witnesses, there was some younger people there, some younger teenage boy, maybe 14, 15 years of age, that she supposedly was given alcohol to. Now, I don't know if that's true. It's believed, some people believe that Summer never returned home with her mother that day, and that this whole story about her being out in the yard with her mom putting flowers in a flower pot and Summer saying, "I want to go inside with my brothers," was all just made up, and that the mother, Candace Bly, had convinced everybody else, the grandmother, I don't know if the grandmother was actually even there or not, and the boys, that they actually saw Summer, and that Summer did come into the house that day. Now, here is a post. Summer Wells' mother, Candace, knows exactly what happened to her, and I don't care who gets mad at me for saying this. There sure seems to be a lot of people who are willing to stand behind her and the husband and protect them. I don't understand it. There's also a lot of finger pointing going on. But as of right now, there's so much speculation. There's so much that's been rumors going on. Personally, I've always sat and wondered, did Summer returned home with her mother that day? There was people talking about this cornbread mafia. That was the one thing that Dr. Phil brought up to Candace that really shut her down. She did not want to discuss that. She seemed to become very scared with that line of questioning. Now, this is what I will read about, this cornbread mafia. The cornbread mafia refers to a group of Kentucky farmers who led a massive domestic marijuana production and trafficking operation in the 1980s. Now, Summer Wells went missing in Tennessee, so I don't know what that has to do with anything that happened in the 1980s, but there is this rumor that some type of trafficking or drug ring, and that Summer's parents had gotten mixed up in that. Maybe they owed money to somebody. That this was another rumor, another speculation, that maybe they owed someone money and they held the daughter until they could pay their debt, or the daughter was taken in exchange for the debt. Cornbread Mafia has been trending since the parents of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells' parents' appearance on Dr. Phil. Candace Bly's reaction was unmistakable. It was a cause of stress. It triggered her. It's mostly rumors and speculation from everybody from podcasters to TV hosts, the local news. The behavior of the parents, I think, was one thing that really gave people people paused and watched their behavior, and it was just suggested that they were not behaving the way parents would behave if their little child was missing and they were desperate to find her. But I can't judge anybody's behavior in that situation. All I can say is that as of right now, Summer Wells is still missing. I don't know if she was a victim of a kidnapping and human trafficking. I don't know if she was a victim of domestic violence situation that got out of hand. And I clicked on this one link that says Summer Wells Update 2025. 4 years after her disappearance on June 15th, 2021, Summer Wells remains missing. Her father, Don, continues to express his heartbreak and the longing for her safe return. While authorities have received over 6,500 tips and conducted extensive investigations, including searches, interviews, and evidence, no arrests have been made. Summer's whereabouts remain unknown. Summer Moon Utah Wells would be 9 years old today. She was last seen wearing gray pants and a pink shirt. If you have any information about Summer Wells, you can contact the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office at 423-272-7121. If there's ever an update about Summer, if there's ever anything new on her, I will come back and do a follow-up on this. Thanks for watching.